They called it a war, but it was really a massacre. The Great Sioux War of 1890 wasn't just another battle. It was the tragic final chapter of Native American resistance in the West. And it all ended in blood at Wounded Knee. By 1890, the once mighty Sioux Nation was on the brink. Forced onto reservations, starved by broken treaties, and crushed by the U.S. military, they were desperate. Then came the Ghost Dance, a spiritual movement that gave them hope. But to the U.S. government, it was a threat, and what happened next would go down as one of the darkest moments in American history. The Sioux were already struggling. The U.S. had stripped them of their land, their buffalo, and their way of life. The government saw the Ghost Dance as rebellion, and when Chief Sitting Bull, one of their greatest leaders, was killed during an arrest attempt, tensions exploded. The army moved in, determined to crush any resistance once and for all. Fearing retaliation, over 300 Lakota Sioux, including women and children, fled towards the Badlands. They were intercepted by the 7th Cavalry near Wounded Knee Creek. The Lakota were starving, exhausted, and outgunned. When the army tried to disarm them, a shot rang out. No one knows who fired first, but what followed was pure chaos. The U.S. soldiers opened fire with rifles and Hotchkiss guns, cannons that ripped through flesh with devastating force. Lakota warriors fought back, but it was no battle. It was a slaughter. Within minutes, hundreds lay dead in the snow. Survivors were hunted down. Bodies were left frozen for days. The army called it a battle. History calls it a massacre. By the time the gunfire stopped, at least 250 Lakota had been killed, many of them women and children. The U.S. military lost only about 25 men, most from friendly fire. But the real wound was deeper. Wounded Knee wasn't just an attack, it was the final blow to Native American resistance. The frontier was closed. The dream of a free Sioux Nation was over. The Great Sioux War of 1890 wasn't really a war, it was a last stand. A desperate people, crushed under broken promises, hoping for salvation. Instead, they got Wounded Knee, a brutal reminder of what happens when fear and power collide. History remembers the victors, but it's the stories of the fallen that we should never forget. Subscribe for more untold history.